So looking at your camera menus, you will get additional options as you work through these, because if you look down in menu 3, which was not present in our previous mode, depending on the mode you're on in the camera, just you can flip that and switch it around to each mode. Most of the time, if you're totally new, you can start in automatic mode if you want to get used to the camera and see how it works. As it progresses, you can start experimenting with other modes. This basically gives you more control of the photos. So it depends how interested you are in looking at individual features of the camera. So exposure compensation allows you to darken and brighten the image. So for example, a use for that would be if I'm in a really sunny day, I'll normally crack it up so I can make the image a little bit darker because it appears brighter, and then in editing I can bring back details. So that's like a layman explanation of using it. So ISO speed settings, that's an option there for you. If you put your camera in automatic mode and you don't want it to go really high ISO, you can set a limit on how it sets the ISO. So mine is set to maximum because I don't mind. I never really shoot at high ISOs, and if I do, I've got a really fast lens, so it never has to go up to that high. Most of them are 2.8, 1.4 or something like that. If you're not familiar with what that means, that's basically aperture of the lenses. I did a full explanation on lenses separately, so check that out if you want to see that. Auto lighting optimizer. Now, in the Canon cameras, they have started including the lighting optimizers. There's a few options here. What it basically does is, if you have an image of something where there's a big difference in brightness and darkness, the camera gives you additional options here to help optimize the light. So think of like maybe you're shooting out of a cave and it's really dark and you're shooting those clouds past that. So those options there, you can set to a different high, low or medium setting. I have it off. I like to just get the image I've got in RAW and then I can get the details back. Because if you shoot in RAW, it's basically like all the information of the camera's photo is stored, and you can decide what you want to do with it afterwards. But they are making additional little things to help make it easier for you as a new photographer and make it easier basically. But again, these are all explained in the actual guides, which you can see in the link in the description if you want a full detailed breakdown of it. I'm giving it more of my view if you're using the camera, how these work out and pan out in day-to-day use. Highlight tone priority, I have it off, and that is another one of those that has started to appear on these cameras, and I normally refer to the guide to explain the correct way of saying it. So let's bring up the guide for you here, bam, and we will say shooting handy. Okay, here we go. The AF modes, let's go. So with highlight tone priority, it's one of these extra options now that you're going to either look at it and think, you know what, I don't need that because it's going to degrade my image quality, and turn it off, or you're going to be like, let me try it. Some of these options are worth looking at and knowing about, so you know what they're doing. So highlight tone priority, you can reduce overexposed clipped highlights. However, noise may increase slightly, so you've got like a bit of a way up there. Is it worth using if you want to get good quality images? Are you okay with having a slight degradation of your image, a bit more noisy? Well, I've got it off, so that tells you what I think about it. Okay, auto slow shutter. So now automatically moves with smooth subject movement when dark, and enabling it automatically record brighter movies when dark. So this allows you to adjust the shutter speed when you're taking videos or photos in situations. When I've set my shutter speed, I want it to stay at that shutter speed, so I'm not really that fussed about it. So which is why I will disable it. I enabled it there by mistake. Like, what's going on there? Okay, metering time, how long it meters on the photo. So this is the shooting mode. So 4 seconds is adequate for metering, and if you're using automatic mode, it'll meter the sky and let you know roughly what settings are. If you normally use that little, what do you call that? Viewfinder? Not the viewfinder, the little bar. I should know the name of that. But yeah, it's funny when you start using cameras and you actually take photographs, you'll learn things that you'll be like, oh yeah, I know how to do that, but you don't explain it very well. So sorry. Okay, now next, project images. This is the play option. So we were in the record option there. The camera's gone slanty over there. I started off there and I'm like all the way over there now. What's going on? Is it self rotating? Is that a menu option? Okay,